situation that's going on in Las Vegas right now with the Raiders. And you want to know why? Well, watch this video and then I'll reconvene.
Obviously, I don't think anybody was excited about it in here. Him being one of my really good friends, and, the reason why I came here in the first place. I wouldn't be here right now if he wasn't here. So.
I don't know if you noticed, but we really just saw Davante Adams put a little emphasis on the entire reason why I came here part. And with that being said, I really think that it's a possibility that should the Raiders decide to get rid of Derek Carr, cut him, release him, trade him to a team like the New York Jets, who could be in the market for a veteran quarterback that could be better than a Zach Wilson, a Mike White, or Joe Flacco, a Streveler. They could use a Derek Carr. So if, let's say, the Jets decide to trade for Derek Carr, then guess what happens? I think Davante Adams gets out. I think he wants out. I think he asks for a trade. Yes, he has a huge contract, but I definitely think he would want out with this organization. And if they're able to trade him to a team, what better team than a team that has a young quarterback that literally needs a number one wide receiver? The Chicago Bears, I think that Justin Fields would do amazing with Davante Adams, and he would take several leaps in the right direction of being a great quarterback and a great passer in this league. And I think that it's really important that Bears fans pay attention to that situation that's going on in Vegas.
Where do you want to see Davante Adams go if he were to be traded this offseason?
Obviously, I'm going to say the Bears because they can get whatever they want for him. It'd be also cool to see him do a Lambeau Leap in a Bears uniform at Lambeau.
That'd be the most disrespectful thing.
Sick.
Where do you want to see Davante Adams?
All right, you guys, we got to talk about this Davante Adams to Chicago Bears thing because this could actually happen. Now, the biggest thing with the Raiders is they're trying to pretty much trade or either release quarterback Derek Carr. They no longer want Derek Carr's talent in Las Vegas, and they want to go in a different direction. Now, it depends on a lot what the Raiders really want. Do they want a rookie quarterback, or do they want a veteran quarterback, a guy like a Tom Brady, maybe a Aaron Rodgers? I'm pretty sure that Davante Adams would love to have Aaron Rodgers be a part of the Raiders. There's so many different speculations out there on what to do in this draft. It's kind of crazy, but with the Chicago Bears and the Raiders, I definitely think that both of these are two teams that could very well end up talking to each other, because pretty much the Raiders have a lot of draft capital. I think that the Raiders have more capital than any other team probably in the NFL. I think currently right now the Raiders stand at 11 picks for the 2023 NFL draft class. The biggest thing too, are the Raiders willing to part ways with their big time receiver in Adams, because Adam just signed a lucrative deal last season to be with the Raiders, and his reason for coming to play with the Raiders is because he played with Derek Carr in college. Both of those guys played together in college, so pretty much you knew that there was going to be a chemistry there. But the way the Raiders seasons went, it did not go as expected. So pretty much the Raiders are looking to break up some things, and you don't know if the Raiders are going to bring back running back Josh Jacobs, who rushed over 1,600 yards this season and led the NFL in rushing. You don't know what the Raiders are going to do ultimately. So the Raiders could end up kind of renovating some things and changing up some things. If they got an eye on quarterback Bryce Young, and they got an eye on quarterback C.J. Stroud, if C.J. Stroud decides to declare for the NFL draft, then the Raiders definitely got some they got some things that they can look at. They may even like Will Levis, I don't know. Or they might like the kid Anthony Richardson. I don't know what the Raiders want. But what I do know is that they have the draft capital that the Chicago Bears would definitely want to inquire about. Now, they could possibly trade Davante Adams over to the Chicago Bears and maybe, do it that way as well. There's different scenarios that they can go and do and be willing to give up. Maybe the Bears would take Davante Adams and take their draft pick, take the Raiders draft pick. You know what I'm saying? And part ways with the number one pick overall. And then you'll give Justin Fields a number one option at the receiver spot. Yeah, he's a little bit older, but still, though, he's polished. He's one of the best receivers in the NFL. And I definitely think that it's going to ultimately give Justin Fields something that he needs, and that's a number one receiver. Now, I know the Bears pretty much, they made some trades last season, man, and I'm surprised that none of these trades really worked out. Claypool and N'Keal Harry They traded for both of these guys, and it did not work out. I thought that Fields would be able to deliver the ball. Both of these guys are two big body receivers, and it just did not pan out that way. Fields pretty much was running for his life. They're going to have to also address the offensive line in Chicago too as well. But the number one thing that I see is that the Raiders have the capital that the Bears desperately could be needing. You know what I'm saying? And if the Bears want to get rid of that number one pick, in which I think that they do, they don't want the quarterback. They already have a quarterback. Why would you give up your quarterback that you're developing in Justin Fields to go and get another quarterback? It just doesn't make sense. Maybe some people think that, Bryce Young could be better. CJ Stroud could be better. Maybe Will Levis in some people's eyes. In my opinion, I think that they're good with Justin Fields. I think that Chicago finally has a quarterback, but they need him to be able to get better with being able to throw the football and not just being able to run with his legs. Because right now, that's pretty much, it's been a Justin Fields show. Him running with his legs and making the most out of every play and every opportunity that he had. But if you had to look to an NFL team to make a trade, I definitely think that the Raiders will be on the phone with the Chicago Bears to have some type of interest in being able to trade for that number one pick. If the Raiders are in love with Bryce Young, then maybe that is an option that they may want to go, because Bryce Young is a very talented quarterback, and he is slated to be the number one quarterback. Between him and CJ Stroud, those two guys could probably go back and forth with who would be the number one quarterback. It just depends on your cup of tea, what type of quarterback you want. Do you want CJ Stroud, who's a much bigger quarterback at 6'3", or do you want a 5'11", 6-foot quarterback in a Bryce Young? Now, Bryce Young is definitely very, very good. He's able to move around in the pocket. He has that escapability that you look for in quarterbacks. Nowadays, a lot of teams are looking for the modern quarterback now. They're not just looking for pocket passers. They're looking for guys that can be able to extend plays with their legs. And I definitely think that Bryce Young can do it as well as CJ Stroud. Now, CJ Stroud, while he was in college, he didn't do it a lot. You know what I'm saying? But he's more than capable of being able to move around in the pocket. I think that he just really wanted to work on his pocket presence and make sure that he got that thing down, because normally that's what those guys get graded on. You know what I'm saying? Being able to stand in the pocket and deliver the football. If you have the legs and you're able to move around, that's just an added bonus to your game. But at the same time, being able to deliver the football and being able to get the ball to guys like Davante Adams is definitely something that Fields would be happen to do. It couldn't be a season like how this season was this year, where pretty much he didn't really have time to throw the ball and he was getting sacked a lot and running for his life. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Chicago Bears do in the offseason. But from what I've been hearing about Chicago, pretty much I've been hearing that Chicago is willing to part ways with that number one pick. And I definitely think that the Raiders have the draft capital that the Chicago Bears so desperately could use. They could either use that number one receiver, or they could get more capital and get more picks and try to get an offensive line for Justin Fields as well. But you have to get the talent for Justin Fields. If you want him to be ultimately a better quarterback in 2023, you're going to have to give him the weapons, and you're going to have to give him an offensive line that is a little bit better than the offensive line that you have this year. Now, I'm kind of curious, too, to see whether or not the Chicago Bears are going to re-sign their running back, David Montgomery, who was pretty much the starting running back. And then he kind of was like in and out with Khalil Herbert. So they was kind of in and out, intertwining, doing the run by committee situation. So it's going to be interesting, man, to see how Chicago Bears really upload this team, because if they want to talk to the Raiders got the capital. The Raiders have everything that you need to be able to get your team a little bit better in 2023. All right, you guys, this is the Keeping It Raw podcast. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll be back to you soon with another video. I am out of here. Until next time, peace.